what is the strategy session? It is like I'll give you some basic techniques as to how you can prepare for the upcoming prelims. So I expect most of you sitting here are planning to write for 2025. Yes, please. Okay, let us see what we can do. But before I start going into the course, the discussion, shall I ask you some questions from ancient and medieval? First question, it's not even related to subject at all. How many of you all have started making any notes for ancient and medieval India? Short notes. Short notes. Say only 2 hands or 3 hands are raising. Ante. Hey, Sariponana, that's what, no, there is a big problem with my handouts. What is the problem with my handouts? Please tell me. Too lengthy. That's why I told you I could not clear mains. In exam, you'll have to write it in a short format. Idem color, galeej color ide. Okay. Fine. Okay. So, not many of you have started making any notes for ancient or medieval. You will suffer, okay? Definitely. And handouts will help you only to get an idea. But before going to exam, you need to have a small notes which you can revise very fastly. Okay. I'll tell you how to make all those things. A few questions related to the subject as such. Think and tell me, don't frighten me, okay? If you don't know, keep quiet. At least don't blurt out wrong answers. Worst case, very simple questions aduta. What was the first metal used by man? Bronze, huh? నేను చెప్పిన చచ్చిపోతాను నేను పారిపోతా క్లాస్లోకి వెళ్ళి కాపర్ is the first metal used by man. Is bronze a metal, by the way, or an alloy? Alloy. Bronze comes by mixing copper with tin. When do you call a society as a civilization? First quality intent. It should have a script. Surplus. From surplus only you will get all the scripts undale. Cities, states. Then you call it as a civilization. What is the world's first ever civilization? Mesopotamian civilization. In which region of the world you will find it? Iraq, Mediterranean, nearby Mediterranean Sea, but still it is Iraq is the area. Second civilization, Egypt, and finally third is Indus, and fourth is Chinese civilization. Anyone can tell me what was the river along which the Chinese civilization came across? Huang Ho and Yapunta, Yellow River. I told all these events. Okay. Paleolithic people were food producers. True or false? I am asking you conceptual questions, they are not factual questions, strictly speaking. Food producers are Paleolithic people are food producers. They were what then? Food gatherers and food procurers. Did they live a settled life? No, they were all nomadic people. Okay. What do you understand by pastorals? Pastoral society. Those societies which depend upon herding animals. Okay. Anyone can tell me the definition of state? A fixed territory. Can I say it is a centralized political entity that claims sovereignty in a given territory? Okay. By using what? By maintaining an army and having a permanent bureaucracy. India's first All India Empire. India's first All India Empire, Mauryan Empire. Was Gupta Empire a strictly All India Empire? No. Why? It was ruling mainly northern parts. But still we consider it, you all know the reasons for that. When do we get the first surviving Hindu temples from? Which period? Gupta periods. Okay. Did Vedic religion practice idol worship? They were doing what? Nature worship in the form of yajnas, mantras, tantras, all these things. Okay. A few more from medieval. I can't ask medieval because there are some students. Are there anyone sitting here for whom I did not finish medieval? A few of you. Okay. The other people can answer, I guess. Yes, please. Can you tell me the 2 important successor states of Delhi Sultanate? After the fall of Delhi Sultans or the Sultanate, what were the 2 important kingdoms that came? I'll give you a clue also. In Deccan and South India. Vijayanagara in South, Bahmani in the Deccans. Okay. Let me see if you all people can remember this. Mughal Empire. Is it correct to call this empire as Mughal Empire? Then what should be the name? No, Turkey again, but that Turkish is not the name. That was a Timurid Nana. Timur. Why you are calling it as Timurid Empire dynasty? There was a person by name, Central Asian Turkish ruler called Timur. So they are descendants of Timur. So you call it as a Timurid Empire. Okay. And next, a few more questions from medieval, and then we'll get into this one. Mongol invasions, if you can recollect, started from whose period? Goria. చెప్పినా నన్ను భయపడేద్దని. Mongol invasions started from the rule of which Delhi Sultan? Iltutmish అని గుర్తుందా? Altamash అని చెప్తాను నేను. Why am I asking these questions? You know, Timurid was already asked in the prelims. This question, Mongol invasion started during which Delhi Sultan's rule? That was also asked in the examination. Okay. Anyone remembers this one? Medieval, again, medieval question. Cheplana, what is Ikta? Can I say it was a province of Delhi Sultans? Kada. But then eventually it became a province of Delhi Sultanate. Okay. Ikta system, was it a indigenous practice in India, or did the Muslims bring it from outside? It was an outside system. All these questions they've already asked in the preliminary examination. It's good you always revise. Okay, mere revision cheskopote you are the ones who will suffer. Okay, let us start getting into the session now. So when I speak about a strategy, I am nearly not going to give you people any magic pill. Okay, that you will simply pop up that strategy and you are going to do wonders in the examination. That is not going to happen. That is not the purpose of the session at all. Strategy will work for whom? Can I say those people who already done the basic work? Can I tell you that this will be some kind like a polishing and shining that finished product? Yes or no? It is more like a polishing a diamond. I am not saying that in this 1 hour session we will prepare a diamond. You should people actually do all the basic work, and once you do that basic work, what I will tell is something might help you. And as part of this discussion, whatever I will tell, most probably you will understand one thing, that all these things which I am going to tell you now, here and there throughout the course, I would have told most of these points at some point or the other. Okay. In the very first classes of ancient India, when I start your course, I tell some techniques to you people. Anyone can recollect and tell me 2 or 3 techniques, I'll really appreciate. First starting, almost in the first and second classes of ancient India, I tell these techniques. One powerful technique which I told you that will help me also evolve. First technique, gurtunda? Visualization. How many of you people really try that? Okay, if you're doing it, it's really help. It will help you only. Okay. Unka, any other technique? Questioning techniques. Unka, you remember that I used to say side headings, nana? You take any topic, first you need to have a framework kind of a thing that will come directly from where? All the list of side headings are one good. Okay. As we go inside, these are some techniques. Again, I'll be repeating. So there is nothing new that I'll be able to offer to you guys. Most of the things you would have already discussed. There will be definitely some points you will learn from today's session also. Okay, so the institute has planned not 1 but 2 sessions. Today's session is the first of those which we'll be discussing only some very general points about the strategy as such. But then December 20 and 21, I think, are you aware of this? No? That we are going to have some 2 sessions on PYQs. Okay, I will be more specific about how the questions are coming in the examination. So that will also have its own importance. For today, we will just do it very superficially and generally. On the whole, if you'll see, history has really 6 components. Okay, but from a preliminary point of view, only 4 components are important for us, leaving aside world history and post-independence. What is important for you all is ancient, medieval, art and culture, and modern. But again, I have already dealt ancient and medieval for you, most of you sitting here. Okay, modern, I have not dealt modern India for you all. Senior sir is one who is taking it up. Although I will discuss some parts of modern India also. Art and culture, I hope you have seen that schedule there. Rafi sir is going to have a separate session on art and culture, strategy and all these things. He will only discuss the PYQs also. So in this session, I will be restricting myself to ancient, medieval and modern. Very briefly, fastly, we will do all these things. Okay. So what are things that we are going to do? If you wish certain points, you can write down. All of these things, most of the points we've already discussed. What should be the first source for your ancient medieval? NCERTs, huh? Kaade. My handouts here, no, after coming to my class, you say first is NCERT. No, why? I'm not saying my notes is anything greater than NCERTs, but simply that in my handouts, you would have seen that there is a particular order in which I write the things there. Okay. And it is not only from NCERT, there will be some extra additions also. So naturally, once you read my handouts, definitely a kind of a base will come for you people. And if anyone remembers, particularly from my handouts, I have based my handouts from old NCERTs or new NCERTs. Think and tell. Obviously, we come from that long back, we finished our preparation. So, it's mostly old NCERTs. So, what you need to make an addition is from the new NCERTs. And particularly, these are one set of books these people are picking questions from. Themes in? At least, are you aware that there are some books like this? Themes in Indian history, 1, 2 and 3, 1 for ancient, 2 for medieval, 3 for modern. If you don't do this, you will definitely have a lot of concepts from my handouts. But what is missing in my handouts is facts. There are too many facts you will find in these books. So once you finish off a particular chapter in my notes from my handout, okay, try to open this NCERT, go to that corresponding chapter in that NCERT and just have a reading over it. And when you kind of scan over the topic, obviously you will understand everything, most of them I would have already covered for you. But will you find some missing elements? What you will do? Simply take them, add to your short notes. This is how you are approaching with the sources. And the third source which I will tell is, while you are reading all these things, the only extra thing that you will have to do is give some special importance to things that have come in the recent news. Okay. In the 2024, this year, May we had that June low prelims aina. From history also, we did not get much of questions this time. Somewhere around 12 or 13 questions only we got from history. And out of that, 2 to 3 questions were current affairs oriented. They simply asked in the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, they have simply asked which of these have been recently added to that. Now, for knowing that, you don't need to know all the conceptual part of history. Even if you know entire history, but if you miss that small factual thing, it's gone. As if 2 marks, you are simply losing them. So, while reading and doing all these things, give a special focus on your current affairs. Emphasize cheyandi. Next, when it comes to the weightage, you all know, generally average, combined all the 4 components, you will roughly get 15 to 20 questions every year in preliminary examination. Now, that's not a small number if you see that. Yes or no? 15 to 20 questions. And there was a year in which they gave 21 questions from history only. 21 questions, and I think it can make and break your chances for the preliminary. So, this year, particularly 2024, as I just now said, they gave only 12 ankutana, maximum 12 questions they've given. So, can they throw a surprise next year? Yes, please. Possibility is there. I'm not saying for sure. But there is a chance you can get good number of questions in the next year. And again, in the weightage aspect, obviously, which of these 4 components do you think will have tendency to have more number of questions? Modern question. Generally, modern is given more importance. Okay. But again, that is, you will say, although you will give more importance to modern, definitely you can't neglect ancient, medieval art and culture. You have to read as much as possible. Often, sometimes, I think I should have told this point previously also. Students used to walk up to me and ask me, sir, just because we'll get only 1 or 2 questions from ancient and medieval, should we put so much of effort? You know what is my answer to them? Don't put. Are you studying for me? No, you're not studying for me. Obviously, if you don't know the importance of the 2 marks, ask a person who has lost that rank with that 1 mark or 2 marks. They will understand the importance. How to attempt those questions also, very briefly I'll discuss those things. Okay. So, it's nothing that you should completely neglect anything, and just because they will ask only 1 or 2 questions. Who told you? You all know UPSC unpredictable antaru. They can anytime throw a surprise to you guys. They can ask 5 questions from medieval, 6 questions from medieval. What will you do there? So, the weightage is generally on this scale, you will start getting it. So what to study? I've told you that sources. Apart from that, if you want to read anything else, choice is yours. Okay. At least in my opinion, if you can read these basic books, my handouts, your NCRTs, and with some importance or focus on current affairs, I think that is a decent job that you can do. Have you ever heard of a book like, I did not tell in this class, A.L. Bhashyam అని ఉంటాడనా, ఇంత బిగ్ ఫ్యాట్ బుక్ ఆన్ ఏన్షియంట్ ఇండియా, ద వండర్ దట్ వాజ్ ఇండియా అనుకో, ఇంత పెద్ద బుక్ ఉంటుంది. Now you get all such sorts of books in the markets, but then again it's completely not necessary. Have you heard of a book called Upinder Singh? It's better you don't hear, okay? Because when it's a big fat this book and intuntada book. Now that is good for whom? Not for students, for teachers, students who are preparing for optionals. For them it might be important, not for these things. Because I remember one time there was 2 questions in 1 year from that book Upinder Singh. In the same year they asked 2 questions which are found nowhere else in other books, but it was found in Upinder Singh. What would you expect students would do? Khatam. They will start. And again, do you think the next year UPSC is going to ask any questions from there? No, they will not ask. So just for that 1 or 2 stray questions which have come from some random sources, don't start hunting all those books. It's a complete waste of time, believe me. Okay. Next, let us see how you people can go about addressing these things. So the first thing I'll say is, you must have your structured approach, a structure and a kind of a framework for every chapter that you do. And whenever I start a module, you all people know that there is nothing new that I can tell there. First thing in timeline clarity undala. If you have a strong hold on the timeline, does it help you have a complete flow of the macro trends and events of that ancient and medieval? Everything, if you have this, it will straight away come to your mind. What comes earlier, what comes later, that evolution will be there in your mind very clearly. And once you know the entire timeline for ancient, medieval and modern India, you will see that for every chapter, particularly ancient and medieval, do you have a particular structure or common side headings that I've given? Can you just tell me very fastly? Any period if you take, generally we give an introduction or an origin. Next, political conditions, economic, social, religious, that same structure is the same structure you can see in all the chapters. Particularly this is suitable for which? Ancient and medieval. Modern, this may not be suitable. Modern has its own kind of a timeline. Unfortunately, I am not dealing that for you. I really cannot go and discuss too much about all those things. Suppose once you have this macro timeline, every chapter you have a structured framework, a conceptual framework is there clearly in your mind. What else is that you can do extra? If I've told that UPSC is focusing on certain aspects in your preliminary examination particularly, I've been repeatedly telling this, if you people can recollect, they are asking you lists of some places in the old names and match them with the new names. So what I want you people, if you wish, you can make some lists like this, okay? Old and new names of important places or cities. You can also make some list of the major battles that you have had, major battles. Likewise, if you want to make such lists, you can find out a ready-made revision kosamo. These things will help you guys. And next, you can also start like, you understand this, Nana? This is more for factual things. Mnemonics and antadane. Ain't mnemonics and some small tricks that you try to memorize things. Okay. For example, 1 or 2 I can recollect is generally in the recently for some ancient India class I was taking. In Buddhism, you will have 3 branches, Nana. Mahayana, and Vajrayana. Now, Hinayana means a smaller vehicle. Mahayana means a larger vehicle. Now, outside India, where did these spread? And because Hinayana is small, when I was a student, I remembered it as if that it is spread from India. It is small, so it went below India, like Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Indonesia. These are the things. But when you say Mahayana, it has spread to something big. So above India, China, Japan. So these are some crude techniques, okay, that you can actually use to memorize these things. Modern India for you, most of you people, I think it has not yet started national movement. Start in the national movement, Anna? Start gale. You will see, you will get your father there. Okay, Gandhi vachinappudu. Before Gandhi entered the national level politics, he actually tried his hand at the local level, regional level. He did some small experiments. Okay, once he tested himself at the regional level, then he started entering into the national level politics. Okay, there were 3 satyagrahas this man did. Like one was Champaran. ఐడియా ఉందన్నా, విన్నరా? అహ్మదాబాద్ మిల్ స్ట్రైక్ అని అంటారు. ఇంకోటి ఖేడా సత్యాగ్రహ. నా వన్ స్మాల్ నెమోనిక్ దట్ ఐ యూస్ టు హ్యావ్ ఈస్ like for Gandhi, when he, just to remember this order, Nana, I used to say that for Gandhi it was a cakewalk. You got what I was trying to say? Antena, simply, I'm not giving you any great philosophy. I'm simply telling you some basic tricks that you might want to memorize these things. In childhood, I remember my tuition teacher gave us a technique. Periodic table, entire periodic table we by hearted. Mottam 1 till 120 ఎంత చేంజ్ వస్తుంది అది మొత్తం. How he gave us a kind of a song. Hi, he, lai, bepkano, namagal, sipsklar అనుకుంటూ పోతాడు. Okay. Now what is that? It's taken the first letters of all these things and you made it, and we by-hearted so much that it kind of got stuck into our minds. So mnemonics also you can practice. Again, as I said, these are all some small things that you can do to improve your these things. Next, every ancient or medieval or modern, there will be some focus area topics. This thing is slightly important. If you wish, you can write down for each of them. I will tell you some particular areas. As long as Congress government was there, you really did not have a lot of questions from Weightage. Now you see, they are asking Weightage questions not in prelims. Directly they are asking in mains also. So you can expect some questions in the prelims as well. Indus Valley, which is definitely a favorite area. Nowadays, they are asking some main questions from Weightage. And this is one favorite area. It has always been. And you all know that what? Buddhism, Buddhism, repeatedly questions. I do not know what kind of love they have towards Buddhism. There doesn't pass a single year without a question on Buddhism. Vastane untai, compulsory vastuntai. And there is one more area. Given the political orientation of that present ruling party, is Gupta period very important for Hinduism? Yes, because they were supporting Brahmanical religion. So naturally, you can select that one also as one more important area for your understanding over there. And then in medieval India, Cholas. Why did I select Cholas this year? Mains lo na September, October, when you had that mains, there was a direct question on Cholas, asking you the artistic and literary contribution of the Cholas. And Cholas also were promoting the Brahmanical religion or Hinduism. So Cholas will be one important section where you can expect some questions over there. As such, they have not yet asked much questions on Rajputs, but last few years I have observed 2 questions coming on Rajputs. So there might be a chance that they will ask more questions on Rajputs. Okay. Why? Again, if you see, I'm selecting particularly Hindu dynasties. Yes, please. Although I'm talking about medieval, I'm selecting more Hindu. Why? Not a BJP. You should understand. Politically intelligent, you should be slightly. You should know what to read and what where to focus more. Delhi Sultanate, definitely they have asked some questions in there. Mughals also you will expect. But in the recent times, there is a great focus more on the Vijayanagara Empire. They are asking a lot of questions. Vijayanagara. Modern might be a slightly lengthy topics. Modern India. See, when you study modern India, actually, I did not take modern India for you guys, so I can't really go deep into that. Generally, you can divide modern India into 2 halves. One is the British people. How did they come? How did they conquer this country? How did they rule this country? And then, once what they did is finished, we started a national movement and kicked them away. Yes or no? National movement was led by which party? Yes or no? Congress party lead chesindi. Yes. Please think and tell me, will you get questions more from national movement or what? Or no? If it was a Congress party ruling party, maximum questions in modern India will be coming from National movement, again, all Congress-led movements, only you will get questions there. But nowadays, what is happening, they are picking some random organizations, okay? You will find them in a book called Spectrum Anundana. Idea on the Spectrum? In modern India, there is a spectrum. Whatever book you read, I will definitely recommend for modern India, Spectrum you must read, because apart from concepts, it has a lot of facts. Facts, too many facts are there. And I've seen particularly UPSC has picked a lot of questions from there. So in modern India, when you are particularly, first let me address this national movement. In the national movement itself, there are Swadeshi movement, you might have heard Khilafat movement, civil disobedience, they're main, everyone knows that. But UPSC right now is not asking those Congress related, but within the national movement, they are tending to ask non-Congress leaders and organizations. Remember that. Like you might have heard Bhagat Singh. But Bhagat Singh, will he be a member of Congress? No, Bhagat Singh was not a member of Congress. Okay, so they are tending to ask non-Congress. In fact, when you read that spectrum, you might see that, what this guy did, he did not do anything for the national movement. But actually, that is what they are picking up. Why? It is non-Congress. They are generally trying to address those areas. So slightly, wherever you get a person who is non-Congress or a leader or an organization, try to ensure that you write a few points on these people. Particularly, I'll also say, I'll use the word also, revolutionaries. They're asking questions on revolutionaries. And then, before national movement, if you go, there is definitely one area where you can expect a lot of questions. The 1857 revolt. Why? That is, there is no Congress there, so naturally there is a chance of asking good number of questions. And this is one area, tribal revolts, peasant movements, and civil rebellions. There is a particular chapter in your spectrum, again, you will find them. Too many facts, but you can't escape, okay? You have to do all these things. Even if you know all the concepts, it's waste, unless and until you know the facts, prelims, it will prove very costly for you. If you think only concepts will be fine, no, that is not going to happen. And one more set is socio-religious reform movements. Social-religious reform movements. Can you give me some names? Raja Ram Mohan Roy, all these kind of people, Arya Samaj. You will get essentially a lot of questions tend to come from social-religious reform movements. And then there are some economic policies of the British, like the revenue systems. Just last year also there was a question from this. Zamindari, Rayatwari, Mahalwari systems, they're asking questions from that also. Okay, some economic policy questions you can expect. Apart from this, there are many things in modern India that I can discuss, but then you might have studied about all the wars, Battle of Plassey, Buxar, and all these things. I have really not find many questions coming from these areas. One last section, if you wish. Additionally, you can focus on the arrival of the Europeans. They're asking some questions here and there. Okay, these are some more focus areas that I can tell you people. Any other thing I want to tell, because essentially I believe one thing, for a student who is sincere in their study, yes or no, you don't really require much of strategies as such. Strategy video, don't you think you will get in a YouTube? But the problem is, I told you, strategy will be good only when you really have your base work. Strategy and final painting. Yes, please. If the structure is not strong, however beautiful painting you will put, that structure will become weak essentially. Okay. Strategy and aim strategy untadra. No manchiga jaduvuko kastabadi jaduvu nee work ni you do your basic sources properly, and let us see how will you not succeed there. 90% you should be able to do all these things. Okay. And the last aspect I want to discuss is the exam day approach. Like, whichever subject you take, definitely from that questions, you can categorize the questions into 3 types like this question. Easy, medium, and difficult, and there will be some questions very difficult also. On what basis will you understand in the examination hall whether that question is easy, medium, or difficult? On what basis you will identify? suppose a person who has not prepared properly for ancient India and medieval India, suppose, okay. Will that person be able to identify whether that question is easy, medieval, easy, medium or difficult? Why? He doesn't know anything. He or she doesn't know anything. On what basis will they judge? So when I say a question is easy, I really mean by that it is a very straightforward question without any distortions and complications coming directly from your NCERTs. That will be an easy question. Missing this on your part, will it be a blunder that you are committing? Yes or no? I'll tell you some basic one or two questions, Nana, that were asked in the previous years. Question is, in the context of ancient India, what are Shrenis and Adiginatra? A, B, C, D is the answer. Ain't Shrenis ante? They are guilds, if you remember. What is a guild, by the way? An association of people following a same profession. Now, this is a direct question from NCERT. Now, if you are missing, then are you losing 2 marks? 100%, definitely. So, your approach in the examination is that at any cost, you are not missing the easy questions. And how will you identify whether it's an easy question or not? A student who has done their job properly, reading all the basic sources, and if that person who has read all the basic sources, revised it properly, if that person will find a particular question difficult, which means will it be difficult only for that person or for anyone? Everyone, because once I did all the basic sources, and if I am not able to answer that question, means most other people who are looking at that question, they will also be not able to answer. If you identify that a difficult question, leaving that, is it a problem? Leaving that, is it a problem for you guys? No, please remember, they are the traps, Nana. Many people, we have a tendency that, I've seen this somewhere. Guess what I'll so most of the time your guess goes wrong. Yes, please, many a time. Until you work hard to get negative marks. That's what it happens. It ends up like that only. So, when you know that a particular thing, it is difficult because you are a person who has done the basic sources, and if this question you are not able to answer, most of the people also who are looking at this question, it is genuinely a difficult question, leave them. And I'll tell you something which generally people don't say. Every year, particularly with my subject history, you see, history has some concepts, but many facts are there. Is it really possible for even, I'll bring all the history professors of the universities in India. Do you think they'll be able to answer all the questions properly? You understand that. History professors from universities themselves will find a few questions beyond their knowledge also. There are facts, you can't help that. Even as teachers, we find certain questions are difficult. Now, I can't expect from you people who are reading multiple subjects that you will go and answer all these questions. Never do that mistake. Once you feel a question is genuinely difficult, simply put a cross and ensure that you are not going to waste your time thinking about it. Then what are the medium questions, Nana? These questions are that they will come from the basic source only. Okay. And you might have read it, but problem is you will get stuck in that option. Out of 4 options you might have, you will eliminate 2 of them, but then again 2 of them will remain. So there your only this thing is, when will you go for this medium? Answering this medium, in my opinion, is it depends upon your performance on the rest of the subjects. If you think you have done decently enough for other subjects, you've got good number of correct questions, confident questions, I'll say you should go for very few of these calculated risk. This is intelligent guess. This is a straightforward answer, you know. Shreni anante, there is nothing doubt in your mind over there. You must directly put that question. But in case you have some, there will be some questions. You know it, but you do not know it completely. So those things, I will say that it's only how many of that you should answer, that depends upon the performance of your other subject. Otherwise, if you try to handle these things, definitely ensure that you are getting some negative marks. Last point I'll just tell. 15 to 20 questions. Suppose, understand you have got 15 questions in entire history. How many do you think will be a decent attempt? Forget about correct or wrong. Attempt decent in untai. Suppose on an average, you understood my question. 15 questions have come in history. How many questions do you think will be a decent attempt? Roughly 10, Nana. Take it granted, ain't it? 5 will be difficult, definitely. 5 easy, 5 medium, 5 difficult. If you are able to answer 10, I think you are already doing a good job. And within the 10, how many should get right? At least 7 or 8 if you can get right, Nana. I think 7 or 8 under the Dadap Miko 15 marks vastunaya. That's I think that should be really sufficient. And in my opinion, in the recent last few years, the cutoff has been steadily falling down. If you would observe, chusina Nana, overall cutoff for the General Studies paper 1 has been coming down slowly, taguta undi. So slightly be careful about whether you want to really anyway trying to answer more than 10. Suppose there is sometimes that the paper might be on the overall easy paper vastada. Sometimes it might happen. Then you can go for 11 or 12 at the end of the day. Don't try to answer all the questions. This is what I can tell you people. Is there anything else I want to discuss? Nantirana, that's all I have from my side. If you people have any specific questions in your mind, you can ask me. Adi else evadu adigadu. Adigandi, endukante if you have anything that you feel that you might want, and if others will also benefit, you can ask me. Alonchandu. Take time, and if you think you really want some extra information about a particular source or anything, I'll wait for a few minutes. You can think and ask me. Cheppandi anna. అడుగుతాడన్నా కానీ he's asking, in ancient India, will they ask books and authors? Actually, why did I not address that question is, it comes under the section of literature in art and culture. అడుగుతున్నాడన్నా, they are asking that questions. ఎంత పెయిన్ఫుల్ క్వశ్చన్స్ అని అంటే, that books, I never heard that books వదిలే ఆ ఆథర్ల పేర్లే వినలే. they are asking that questions. అనే ప్రాబ్లం ఏంటంటే, ఇట్స్ నాట్ వన్ బుక్ అండ్ వన్ ఆథర్. దే విల్ గివ్ మ్యాచ్ ద ఫాలోయింగ్, మల్టిపుల్ బుక్స్, మల్టిపుల్ ఆథర్స్. ఎవడు చేస్తాడు అది? అండ్ అగైన్ దట్ జనరలీ గోస్, అది ఎట్టిపోతుందన్న దట్ క్వశ్చన్ యూ ఆస్క్న, రఫీ సార్ విల్ ట్రై టు అడ్రస్ దట్. ఇట్ విల్ గో ఇన్ టు ఆర్ట్ అండ్ కల్చర్. ఇంకా ఎనీ వన్ వాంట్స్ టు ఆస్క్ ఎనీథింగ్? చెప్పండి అన్న. డూ యూ నీడ్ టు రిమెంబర్ ఇయర్స్? సి క్వశ్చన్ అడిగింది, డూ వీ నీడ్ టు రిమెంబర్ ఇయర్స్? చెప్పండి. What do you think? No, huh? Some years are definite, na, compulsory. There are certain things you must remember. Now, if you'll say, if I'll ask you, first battle of Panipat, should you remember that year or no? First battle of Panipat, should you remember it? 100% tappadu. Enduku? It is the year when Delhi Sultanate was ended and Mughal Empire is established. So naturally you must remember that. మంచి క్వశ్చన్ అన్న. ఎందుకు తెలుసా? ఇన్ ద రీసెంట్ ఇయర్స్ I have found some questions which they are asking on the chronological order. They have given you a list of kings or list of dynasties and asked you put them in a chronological order later అంటాడు. There you might not require to remember the exact date, but at least you should know who came early and who came later. అది కూడా కంపల్సరీ వస్తుందన్న. And there was a very irritating question in medieval India. ఇంత ఘోరం అంటే అది, he picked up 4 dynasties. All of them are coming in the same 8th and 9th century. The Palas, Rashtrakutas. Medieval students should remember this. That Kanauj triangle. Gurjara Patiharas, Palas, Rashtrakutas, all are in the same time period. And then he is asking the same dynasties and asking you to put them in a chronological order. Enta ghooram adi. And within Rajputs, Rajputs lo, you all remember ancient medieval students, you should know that. Is Rajputs one kingdom or a group of kingdoms? Group kada. What they've asked, there was a question, 4 Rajput kings in each kingdom and asking them to match with the kingdoms. Hey, ఏంది క్వశ్చన్ అది? అది అడిగింటే నాకే తెలియదు రా పేర్లు. As a teacher I do not know, but if you ask me the concepts of Rajputs, I will definitely tell you anytime. బట్ వాడు అడుగుతుండే ఏంటి లోపలికి వెళ్ళి, ఆ కింగ్స్ అడిగితే మళ్ళీ కింగ్స్ విత్ రెస్పెక్ట్ టు విచ్ డైనాసిటీ. ఎవడు చేస్తాడు చిన్న అట్లా? ఎస్ నన్న. సో ఇయర్స్, సర్టైన్ ఇయర్స్ యూ డెఫినెట్లీ హ్యావ్ టు మెమరైజ్. బ్యాటిల్ ఆఫ్ ప్లాసీ ఇయర్ యూ మస్ట్ రిమెంబర్ అనో. ఎస్, 100% తప్పదు. బట్ అగైన్ క్రోనలాజికల్ ఆర్డర్ కొంచెం గుర్తుపెట్టుకుంటే చాలు నాన్న. ఇంకా ఎనీ వన్ వాంట్స్ టు ఆస్క్ ఎనీథింగ్? అట్లీస్ట్ 2 క్వశ్చన్లను అడిగారు. ఇయర్స్ మరి ఇంపార్టెంట్ కదా. దెర్ ఆర్ సమ్ కేసెస్ వేర్ యూ విల్ గెట్ దట్. ఇంకోటి అబ్బాయి ఏం అడిగాడు, లిటరేచర్ యు ఆర్ గెటింగ్ క్వశ్చన్స్, సో కీప్ ఇన్ మైండ్ దట్ ఇట్ విల్ బి కవర్డ్ ఇన్ యువర్ ఆర్ట్ అండ్ కల్చర్. ఎనీథింగ్ ఎల్స్ యూ వాంట్ టు ఆస్క్ ఫాస్ట్లీ? నా 2021 రోజు we will have this a PYQ session. That will, we can, at least I can give you more there, because we will directly address the క్వశ్చన్స్ పిన్ పాయింట్ చేస్తాం కాబట్టి ది విల్ అప్రిషియేట్ దట్. ఓకే.